before we go to the round table. We have to live in reality. We do. We have to live in reality because we're better in reality. Now, one of the other takes, again, I just touched on it a little bit, is that we failed because we stood up for causes that we should have never stood up for. That's your Joe Rogan crowd talking. That's your very middle of the road crowd talking. That's your Gaza people talking. And that's just not true. It's just not true. It's actually counterintuitive. You don't win elections by being weaker on your points. You win elections by being unapologetic, because I have to tell you, folks, your average person isn't you. And I'm going to try desperately to convince you of that. I'm going to try desperately to convince you of that. The average person isn't you. Let me show you a couple of things here. This guy is very weak. He's just an arbitrary MAGA guy. He's nobody in particular. He's very weak. He's fragile. He doesn't have a lot of. He doesn't have your analytical skills. And all he wants is someone to make him feel safe. And that's why he's very susceptible to the message. Here's another one. This guy is weak. He is weak. This is a very, very weak man you're looking at. You notice how they get like really puffy? A lot of puffery. That is a scared animal's reaction. And we are animals, folks. We are. That is a scared animal's reaction to a situation. To blow up. It is an intelligent, strong person that remains calm and works through situations. This guy, and these are just randos I pulled off the internet. They're not anybody in particular. This guy's weak. Does not have analytical skills. ET, always good to have you here, man. I'm hearing so many people saying that there are still some guardrails, or that we can start to flip things in the next election, while they delude themselves that we're weaker in the overall messaging, lost in messaging. Great point. And it is. It's silliness to be talking about the next election, because that's not where the fight is anymore. That is not the fight we're having anymore. Yeah, no kidding, right? These are not the most attractive people. Let me get back to the point I was making. What appeals to those people is strength. They want you to lie to them. I told Colin Allred, I said, look, man, there is no Republican sitting there trying to say, saying to themselves, hey, that Colin Allred's interesting. I think I need to hear what he has to say. No. They were sitting there holding onto their phone, waiting to be told why they hated Colin Allred. And it didn't have to make sense, and it didn't have to be real. It didn't have to be supported by data. All it had to do was reassure him that, yes, you're afraid, and that's okay, but you're stronger, better, smarter. And since you're one of us, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it all okay. And they stroked him and told him it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's the message. I mean, that's it for that dumbass. That's it. You're super amazing, even though you're not. You're mediocre and probably less than mediocre. But you're super amazing, and I'm going to fix it. And once that compact is in place, you can say anything to these people, anything, and it will not matter. And if you don't think it's true, folks, the folks in Jim Jones' cult knew they were drinking poison Kool-Aid. They knew. They knew. You know, they didn't tell the kids, but the cult knew. And we lose sight of that as people. We lose sight of that. We do. We just do. And Joe Biden, God bless him, for doing an amazing job after COVID and his fealty to normalcy, which we desperately needed back after the last Trump disaster. God bless him. But his fealty to normalcy in a time when we were dealing with not normal, that's why we lost. That's why we lost. And it happened over and over again. It's not just Joe Biden. Bob Mueller. Do you think Bob Mueller didn't know that Bill Barr completely rewrote his report? Of course he knew. But he upheld norms and he kept his mouth shut because that's what you do. Well, congratulations, Bob. It's gone. It's gone now. The experiment's over. Merrick Garland. Like I said, I stick by my point. When he was first appointed, he was a great choice. He was. He was an appeal to normalcy. It was a little bit of a thumb in the eye to Republicans for denying him a seat on the Supreme Court. He's incredibly middle of the road at a time when the country Democrats desperately needed to say, yes, we are the people that we think we are, when we aren't. Most of us aren't. Most of us are that lower grade of people that is just looking for somebody strong to follow. And that's not just Americans, that's worldwide. Putin uses these attacks globally because he understands this. People follow strength. Russia is a shithole, and his people still follow him. He is not unpopular in Russia. He is not. There's a segment of people like us that have liberal brains and have problem solving abilities and awareness that don't like Putin. But your average human is not us. And Merrick Garland should have been a short appointment, 2 years max. And then he should have been replaced with a knife fighter, someone that understood the political landscape, because the Republicans never got off a war footing. Never. The Republicans went to the American people and said, we are intentionally hurting you for our political gain. And they were rewarded for it. Because the last half of that sentence was, because we're smarter and we're better and you're us. And if we just be more like you, everything will be okay. Because, man, you're special. Well, they're not. They're not. They're scared. They're weak. They're frail. That's who they are. This is who they are. This is happening for real, folks. I saw a couple of people in the chat mention it. This is who they are. Your body, my choice forever. Saying that out loud, and it will hurt him not one bit. Young men they're having a problem in local schools. You need to talk to your daughters. You do, to make sure they're okay. Because misogynist little pricks like this guy are all over the place. The weaklings. That's the problem with these people, is once they're in, there's no decency to them. There's no moderating normalcy. You know, they're not like us. Like I keep saying, oh yeah, we'll believe the election's stolen. Show me. Yeah, they never have that cognitive moment. They just, oh, this is what the cult's saying now. Okay, yeah, your body, my choice. And they're cool with it. So yeah, your daughters are taking a lot of abuse right now. And they don't give a shit about their own daughters, their own wives, nothing. All they care about is their own fear. That's it. And they don't even recognize it as fear. They don't even recognize it as fear. They don't have that cognitive ability to understand those emotions. You know, I was a young, unconfident man once, and when a gay man would hit on me, oh my God, I hated it. It was uncomfortable. And I reacted poorly to it. Screw you, man. You think I'm gay? That was terrifying. Somebody thinks I'm gay. That's weakness. That's unconfidence. Now I get it all the damn time. Oh, you're a good looking bear. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's just a fucking compliment. And I'm not scared. I know who I am. I know what I am. Why did they spend $250 million on transgender attacks? Because they're scared and weak. They never progress past that young, immature weakness. It works for them. And you recognize it in your own people. There are people in your own family. There are people in my family. And it's not okay. It's not okay what you did. And if you say it's okay, you're projecting weakness. Folks, I took a lot of hell once, way back in the day, when I first started this whole journey. Because I am like I am now. I would just speak what I know to be true. And there was a discussion about democracy and why democracy was the best form of government anywhere. And I said, you know what? Democracy is great because it has this whole feature that we can fight something out, and then when it's over, we don't have to kill each other because there'll be another election. That's a great thing about democracy, but it's not the best form of government. It's not, because democracy means compromise, and nobody gets exactly what they want, and that's not really good because there are real answers and real solutions to problems, and they can be unpopular. The best form of government is to have an altruistic, decent monarch. And I said that. And good Lord, you would have thought that I just praised the Antichrist and everything. The hate I got for saying that. I didn't say, I said, look, it really is. If you're just talking about a functioning government, it's the way it is. Now, is it the best case scenario for everything? No, because, if you got this great monarch and he's a wonderful human being, there's no guarantee his kid is. And in fact, a lot of times, that whole expression, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, is true about a lot of things, but greatness and decency will skip generations. It does. And if you've got a monarchy, well, if the kid that's going to take the control is a piece of shit, man, you got to kill him. You got to kill him. And a lot of people die, and it's violent and it's ugly. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Violence is bad, people. So that's why we embraced democracy, because we knew we were cerebral enough to understand, you know what, we're not going to get everything. Every solution isn't going to be really perfect because we're going to have to compromise with people that are not working for the best solution. But then there's this Achilles heel, and there's a reason democracies only last about 200 years. Because if the pendulum ever swings too far, it ends. And that's what just happened, folks. It really did just happen. It wasn't hyperbole when we said, look, you got to vote or this is it. Too many people out there, there are interviews they're doing with illegal immigrants that are saying, you know what? I'm not a criminal. They're talking about just the criminals, just the bad ones. There's just people doing bad things. I never do bad things. I just work. They don't mean me. So I voted, I supported people. They didn't vote, but they supported Trump. I mistake. They did not vote. They're saying that they supported Trump. And they convinced their family members who are here legally to go vote for Trump. Talking to literal illegal immigrants that are here working, trying to live the American dream. The people that we were fighting for to say, look, if they're good and decent people, let's get them a path to citizenship. Those people that we were fighting for, they told us, fuck you. They did. They did. And you know why they say they do it? They did it because they believe the economy would be better under Trump, and they wouldn't be deported. They just wouldn't. They're really saying this, folks. They're really saying this. And why do they believe it? Because the Republicans never got off a war footing. And it doesn't matter that I can show you, because you're liberals. You need to see it. I have to do a show where I go through and I find the data and I bring it to you. I cannot tell you how many emails I get. I heard what you said, but I'm going to need you to show me where you got that data. And I'm like, look, dude, I showed you the headline. Go to frickin' Google, type in the headline, and read the fucking article. But that's liberals, man. That's the way we are. They are not. They don't question. They goose step along. And folks, that's how we got here. That's how we lost. And no, the answer isn't to compromise what's right. The answer is to show strength. Show strength. Insult your opponent. Make him an or her an unacceptable option. And do not ever in your life say, I'm willing to work with Republicans. Well, then he's not unacceptable, is he? You didn't show strength. It's that simple. Stop it. For Christ's sake, reality's on our side. You've heard people say this before. Reality has a liberal bias. It does, because we are very cerebral. Things have to be proven. Things have to be real. So reality is actually on our side, folks. When I say we all do better when we all do better, that's not just a catchphrase. Yeah, it's just real. The economy is better when we are not attacking immigrants. We are an aging country. We cannot screw our way out of this. We can't. We just can't. And while I'm being blunt, I'm going to tell you folks, the ones that do actually, most of y'all are here for the free ride, and that's okay, because I want you here for the community. But those supporting the show, my mouth just got this demonetized. So yeah, open up your fucking wallets. This one's not going to get me paid shit from Google. The postmortems I am hearing are Chris Hayes, people just didn't like Joe Biden. No, dumb people didn't like Joe Biden, because dumb people were told by Republicans and you, the corporate media, because you sucked their ass, shit that wasn't true. And they never stopped. They never stopped. One of the best economies this country has ever known, literally leading the world, the best economy in the world. And your average dumb fucking stupid idiot piece of shit Republican voter thinks it's terrible. Thinks it's terrible. Why? They were told that over and over and over and over again. And folks, you want to tell you, if you do not believe me that strength matters more than anything, strength matters more than anything. Strength matters more than anything. Strength matters more than anything. I can't say it fucking enough. If you don't believe that's true, they got caught red fucking handed being paid by Russia to put misinformation out, and they were rewarded for it. And I've been begging. Folks, you know me. I've been to the White House. I've talked to the chief of staff. I have been around people, and I told every one of them the exact same thing. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing? They're paying their people, and they knew they were paying their people because the Republicans tried to pass a bill here in Texas that said people like me had to disclose who pays them. And everybody on my side was like, yeah, do that, do that. And when they realized we weren't afraid of that because nobody's fucking paying us, except for you people, you patrons of the show, you're it. You're it. That's it. Nobody's paying us. When we said, do it, pass that damn law, they said, oh, no. And that law disappeared like a fart in the frickin' wind. Because they know the billionaire frat boy club is paying. They have hired, they've gone, Asia is ground zero. Indonesia especially is ground zero. I've shown you I've done pieces on click farms where they literally take phones, they demolish them, take the boards out of them, and they build servers of cell phones so that it appears that these are individuals holding cell phones speaking. And they run them now with AI programs that have been learning. They've been learning this whole time. To do what? To tell you that the greatest fucking economy in the world is failing. And they believed it. Why? Because the compact was clear. You're weak. You're scared. I'm going to tell you, you're great. You're wonderful. You're really strong. You're strong enough to be a bigot. Instead of the reality, which is you're weak, but you're a bigot because you're weak. You're a bigot because you fear the other. And you're stupid. You're too stupid to know that if we just do well for each other, if you've got a community that is suffering and not doing well, the answer isn't to throw a fuck ton of cops into that community to throw these people in goddamn jail, because you're just making that community worse off, not better off. All of that is cerebral, folks. It's real. It is correct. It is the right thing to do. Stop over fucking policing black communities, because I guarantee you, you can go out here in my neighborhood, out in the sticks, out in the fucking country, there are more goddamn meth heads out here per capita than I promise you there are crackheads in East LA. I promise you, the density is much higher. But there's no cops. There are no cops here. So they're not getting pulled over and getting abusively searched. And forgive me for not reading your I tried to read your comments when you donate, but I am on a roll here. Please forgive that. We'll get back to that, I promise you, but just not today. So folks, it's not your ideas are wrong. That's another one that a postmortem I've taken is liberals need to get over their ideas. No, we don't. We just got to stop being nice about them. We've got to stop being cerebral about them. You know, when I came to social media, it is not a joke. I have changed this community. I will go to my grave knowing that I have improved our community, because when I got here, they would say the most abusive, nasty shit to us all over social media. And the retort from our side was, well, let me tell you why you're wrong, and that our ideas are superior for this reason. And now, what do you say? Let me hear it. Let me hear it in the chat. This is a real exercise. I'm making you work for it. This is a real exercise. When somebody says you're a pedophile, what do you say? I'll give you a hint. It's 2 words. It's 2 words. You're close. You're close. That ain't it. It's fuck you. People follow strength, folks. People that aren't you follow strength. They do. That's why all my bios now say, I didn't vote for the rapist. That's why I'm making a shirt that says, I didn't vote for the rapist. And I'm going to walk around in the reddest red area you've ever fucking seen with my shirt that says, I didn't vote for the rapist. People follow strength. They do. The ones that aren't like us, that can't think things through, that don't have the same, and again, you know, I say this all the time. Please understand this point. I say this all the time. I do. Gay people are just who they are. Your sexuality is a physical construct of your mind. It is. You know, gay people ask this question all the time because people imply that somehow being gay was learned or something like. They say, "Oh yeah, when did you decide to be straight?" What you find physically attractive is in here. It is literally a construct of your mind. White matter, the hypothalamus. It's who you are physically. Hating someone for existing just as who they are has got to be the stupidest damn thing I have ever heard. So don't hate these people that are not you, that do not have the same amount of gray matter that you do. Literally, you have a different brain than they do. We're not carbon copies. We are not. We are a massively diverse species. In fact, I think we're diverse enough that we need to start having a conversation that we may actually be two species. Don't hate them for it. Don't hate them for it. Not for that. Hate them for what they just did to our country. And that includes your fucking family. Hate them for what they just did to them. There's no excuse for it. It's indecent what they just did. Is it our fault? Yeah. It is. It is. It really is, folks. I'm sorry to tell you that. It is. And I tried. I really did try. I tried to tell everybody that would listen, anybody that would listen. We need to have a comparable, paid for social media presence of people that will push the messages in a unified way. The Republicans get a talking point, and it is immediately within minutes, literally under 15 minutes, uniformed and blown out there. Then we blow it out of the water with facts. Then the retort to our facts comes out in a uniform, lockstep message. What their people need to hear to ignore our facts. They have that now. They do. They have that right now. It was able to convince a majority of American voters that our economy is not good. And a guy that's bankrupted several companies is a obvious. I mean, you can look at Donald Trump and you know he's a cheat. He's a scumbag. You wouldn't trust him with your children. You wouldn't trust him around your wallet. You know he would steal from you. You know that. You can discern that because of the way your mind is built. They don't have that. They don't. So what do we do? Say, well, let's change our messaging. Let's not defend what we know to be good and right and true. That won't work with us. We'll fracture apart. We will fracture apart. Just like the Gaza people. Fuck it, burn the boats. Why we're in them, burn the boats. That's the way they were. I mean, that was their whole, all the Gaza people out there, burn the fucking boats. Why we're in it. Why? Because, well, they don't know why. You can't not stand up for what we believe in, or we lose our coalition, and our coalition has to start. So no, we can't back off our messaging. We can't. That just makes us weaker. We have to be more militant. We have to be more attacking. We have to tell that, and I'm guilty of it. I love my son. I do. I would die for my son. But I put up with so much shit out of his mouth because it's my son. He doesn't do it with me. I mean, I can't tell you how many times he looked at me and said, "That's retarded." But I sit there and I explain to him why we are correct and do the exact thing that I tell you we're doing wrong. And I do it because he's my son. When what I should be saying is, shut the fuck up and don't talk to me until you pull your head out of your ass. Because I did him no favors. I lost him his country. So, this is where I turn the show over to you. I need you to understand this. You need to be more militant. You need to be more aggressive, not less. You need to be less forgiving, and you need to understand they're not us. They're not. Don't sit there with a troll online and try to have a conversation. The correct answer is fuck you. You're an idiot. Block. Show strength because it's what they respond to. Treat them like cattle. When a bull gets uppity, you can't say, "Now, Mr. Bull, let me explain why you need to calm down and why, if you just stick your head in this gate, yes, I'm going to clamp down on it and you're going to be a bit afraid. But when you put this head in this gate, I'm going to give you this shot with this 12-inch needle. And it's going to make all the things that are making you really upset and feel bad better." No, I take a fucking whip out and I beat that fucking bull until he sticks his head in the fucking gate. Then I clamp it down and I cure his fucking disease. And then I turn him loose and I bring him a carrot. These people aren't much above cattle. They aren't. It's the way their brains are wired. It is. Stop being so goddamn nice. And never let me hear out of your mouth again, "We need to work with Republicans. We need to reach across the aisle." No, folks, they just won an election with the biggest piece of shit candidate you've ever seen. He is physically unappealing. He is repugnant to look at. He's impossible to listen to. He stinks like shit because he craps on himself. He's feeble and old, and they won. They won with that. Imagine what they'll do with the system they've set up with somebody that's actually fucking appealing. So please know, the fight's not at the ballot box anymore. That's over, folks. That is. They have no fealty. They have no fealty to the Constitution or democracy. They don't. And they have all the levers of power. They're going to cheat wholesale. The reason they kept saying they were going to cheat, and yes, I do believe they cheated. I do. Not enough to sway the election. No, they didn't cheat enough to sway the election. But did they cheat? Yeah, they did. And they cheated because they told their people over and over and over again that we were cheating. Do you know why they got that message? The number one reason they got the message over and over and over again that we were cheating is to make it okay for them to cheat. Every one of these Republican bastards that we catch cheating say the same thing. Well, they were cheating. Yeah. I love you, folks. Let's hear it. All you. What do you got to say? Where are you at? Let me start off the round table with throwing this question out there. Mrs. Texas Paul and I react to instability by hunkering down. That's what we do. We double down on being tight. That's what we do. We've always lived well beneath our means so that we could get to, I got a nice house, folks. I do. This is our retirement home. It's a nice house. It is a nice place. We built this, we sacrificed, we lived beneath our means our entire lives to be able to do this. But whenever trouble comes, the first thing we do is we close our wallet. And Mrs. Texas Paul's car is about 5 years old. Again, we don't do a new car every 2 years like a lot of people around here do. I see people bitching about, again, just to show you how cognitively broken they are. There are people around here with $1,200 truck payments driving lifted pickup trucks because they don't haul anything. Let that soak in. They buy a pickup truck, which is by design. I got a truck. I do. There's nothing modified on it. It hauls what I need it to haul. And I don't drive it. It is an incredibly low mileage vehicle because it only drives when it's working because it gets shitty gas mileage. But I got to have it to do the things I do on my property. When I need it, I've got to have it. These financially illiterate motherfuckers go out and they buy pickup trucks when they don't haul anything but groceries. They pay, pickups have huge margins, not because they cost a lot to make. No, they have margins, huge margins, profit margins, because they charge exorbitant amounts for them. They could literally go buy for half the price a nicer SUV that would serve their purposes better, but they go buy a pickup because, you know, man, you got to have your lifted truck with your custom wheels that totally destroy your truck's inability to haul anything because you just destroyed the suspension to lift it up to get your wheels. And that same ignorant bastard will make fun of somebody with a lowrider. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. That guy will sit there and bitch about $3 eggs, vote his own country away. Will sit there in a job. I can't tell you how many times I've had this exact conversation with my own son. He's like, well, I don't like, like talking about transgender people. I wish they just keep it out of my face. When we're standing by a barn in a field where there not only are there no transgender people within driving distance, there are no humans at all around us. We're us, that's it. Standing in the middle of a frickin' field talking about in my face. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't. You just got to tell somebody that's got that kind of mind to be scared of something and that you're better because you're mean to them and you're scared. Notice my message isn't that you're better because you're a real dick to them. That's not why I'm saying that. I'm saying you be a dick to them because it works. It projects strength. I'm not saying that makes you better. No, I'm saying you're better because you're smarter and you can understand complex subjects and you know things that aren't simple. You know they are the right thing to do. You can reason through it. Therefore, don't compromise. Don't compromise. Project strength and fucking do it. But where I was going with this is we hunker down when something like this happened. We were going to go replace my wife's car. We were going to do that. And we decided not to. I'm getting a lot of people that are very financially savvy saying, no, do it now. Do it immediately. Tariffs are coming. Any large purchase you need to make it now before the tariffs come. Which I have to admit makes a lot of sense, but it goes against what I instinctively do, which is, again, I go buy rice, I go buy beans, I go buy flour. I stock up on toilet paper and I hunker down and prepare. I don't buy anything expensive because I want to have cash to do what I need to do. If I got to leave this damn country, I'm going to have cash to do it. Where are you at? What are you doing to deal with? Because there's an economic crash coming, folks. This isn't debatable. It's every time. Last 6 administrations, going to be on 7 administrations. Democrats created 96% of the jobs. We have had the only economies that actually work. Every time the Republicans, especially this Republican, gets into office, they destroy the economy. What are you doing personally to prepare? And Aidis is going to make several phone calls next week about our country. Good for you. I'm looking for the comment. I didn't see it. There you go. Neo says prices will go up. Stock market will go down. Businesses, that's not just hyperbole. Businesses, people that are in the know. Businesses are buying overseas products as fast as they possibly can, and they're paying warehousing fees. Businesses don't do that willy-nilly because warehousing costs money. So not only are you going to see the tariff fee, they can't lose money. They can't. If they lose money, they die. That's what businesses have to make a profit. Or they don't exist. So they're going to pass that tariff on to you, but then all the warehousing fees involved now in their product are also going to be above and beyond the tariff. So yeah, it's not a matter of question. Prices are going to skyrocket. The economy is going to tank. We know that. What do we do now? What are you doing? We're a community. We're a community. You always need to remember that. When you're sitting here in the live chat talking with people, we are a community. I am, yeah. Lynette, I am. Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I will be in the reddest part of Texas, and I am not going anywhere. Fuck them people. When Trump burns down the economy and tariffs and deportations, I'll be here till they throw me in the gulag. When Trump burns down the economy with tariffs and deportations, we'll see how people will react. Yes. Thank you, Metal Mark. Yes, exactly. People are like, whoa, we need to prepare for the next election. No, we don't. We need to fight this on the streets, project strength, because when that reality hits and the economy goes south, we need to be in your face saying, I told you so. They screwed you. And say it loudly and say it mean so that they know that you have strength. Mass deportation will be coming soon. We'll see it all. There's something hilarious I wanted to share with you. Thank you, Sela, for bringing that up. There's something freaking hilarious happening. Trump is chaos, right? This is never a smooth, well-oiled machine because they have opposing interests. You know, you got the uber rich that funded the whole 2025 project, right? And oh, by the way, Bernie Marcus died. Woohoo! The founder of Home Depot, dead as a doornail, gone. Yay. Yes, I celebrated the death of someone. Yay. But you have the uber rich bros that were like, well, we're really good with going along with Putin's plan and talking about this whole deportation thing. Well, we don't really want to do that. That's going to make us go broke. I mean, what's the point of having tax cuts if you ain't making no money? That group has gotten to Greg Abbott. And Greg Abbott gave a speech yesterday. He's like, yeah, we're totally building a facility down here, but you got to be patient because it's a process. It's a process. We're going to get them violent criminals first. You know, we're going to focus on that. We're going to focus on that. Remember, they're holding the signs, mass deportation now. Yeah, that's what the bigots want. They ain't getting it. They ain't getting it. They ain't getting it. The way it's going to work, and you write this down so you can come back and you can tell me, damn, Paul, you were right. The way it's going to work is they're going to try to do a for-show deportation, and it will be. It'll be people that need to be the hell out of this country. It is. It'll be criminals. Everybody they bust, they're going to streamline it. But no, it's not going to be. I mean, there you go, right there. Jeff, here you go. Gosh, I love talking to you people. You understand. Joe Destiny. It's too damn expensive. It's like $100 billion to just do the deportation. But deportation, before you talk about the absolute nuclear bomb that happens in the economy from doing it, that's just the cost. The physical cost of making it happen is almost $100 billion. So yeah, the mass deportations, they're really trying to put that shit back in the horse. They are. They're trying to say, we're going to do it. That damn Biden and Kamala, they always say instead of Kamala Harris, they let all them illegals in. We're going to find the bad ones. We're going to start. It's a process. It's a process. Now, mind you, I know we said we're going to mass deport all them brown people you don't like, but it's a process. And you got Steve Miller, Steve Bannon, all of those white supremacists that are right next to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is a racist son of a bitch. And they're going to have a civil war. It's going to be chaos. And I don't mean a shooting civil war. I mean within their own ranks, they're going to have a civil war. They are. Because, man, there's a huge portion of them that really, really want to do it. And then you got the money people saying, no, man, no. And I told you, they think they can control them. They cannot. They cannot. Leonard Campbell, exactly. Now, a lot of people scoffed at what I said when I talked about Gandhi. The first thing he did was taught his people to be self-sufficient. Do that. Do that. When things get bad, it'll be a lot worse if you're hungry. Sounds silly. Man, that Texas Paul said what I ought to do to fight this fascism is grow a garden. No, that's not what I said. Not what I said at all. We're going to fight our asses off. We are. I will be here like a fucking blowtorch that they put me in the gulag. I will be calling out their shit and I will be directing you as best I can until they throw me in the fucking gulag. But I'm going to grow me some tomatoes next spring to make sure I got fresh tomatoes. You do the same. Do the same. Political musings with Amy Manuel. Help. My son is getting married tomorrow, so I have to see my MAGA sister with a PhD in neurobiology tonight at the rehearsal. She's anti-immigrant. What do? I don't know. Tell her, fuck you. My advice. Susie Wild. What's my take on Susie Wild? It just confirms what I was telling you. What she's saying here is the campaign chair, Trump's campaign chair, Susie Wiles, has been tapped as chief of staff. They're never getting off a campaign footing. This isn't about functioning. This isn't about a functioning government. You know, we Democrats always do that. Well, the election's over now. It's time to get to work. The Republicans stopped doing that like a decade ago. They just stopped. They never have gotten off a campaign footing. That's what it means. Donald Trump has named his campaign chair his chief of staff, which means the campaign is never going to end. Ever. So yeah, it's going to be a disaster. They're not going to govern, and an ungoverned country dies. I mean, it just does. Thank you. How you feeling, folks? How you feeling? I don't know about you, but I'm not scared. I'm mad. I'm fucking pissed. But I'm not stupid. I'm not. I am not going to listen to all this. I want you to do this. Oh, by the way, an announcement. Into business today. You know how I play a lot of clips off of Shitter? No more. Into business today. My X account is gone. It will not exist anymore. There will never be a bit of content posted to that. Ever. I've opened a Blue Sky account. This happened. And later on, after I get this, I'm gonna invest some time and energy. Hey, what do you know? Overnight, last night about 10 o'clock, this account went live. I got 2,600 followers already. Yay! And I haven't even gotten to work yet. Fantastic. This is my Blue Sky account. Twitter is history. No more. No more Elon Musk. No more giving him content for free where he can put his freaks out there. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. There are other venues, and I'm available on Threads. I'm available on Instagram, here on YouTube, of course. Oh yeah, that is something else. This blows my mind. Why haven't you subscribed? We're in a freaking war here for our souls. Why haven't you just? It costs you nothing. It's free. Everybody that complains, well, I can't support the show and this and that, well, that's okay. I just want you here. You can hit the subscribe button. You can do that. It costs you nothing. Literally does not gum up your YouTube feed or anything. All it does is it puts me down there on the bottom of your YouTube screen. That's it. You've got subscribed accounts. I'll be in that group. For God's sakes, why haven't you subscribed? It's huge for me. It's huge for me. It helps me in the algorithm. Hit the thumbs up button when you're watching a show. It brings more people into the audience. You'll notice we had almost 4,000 people. Since the election, our audience has grown 25% because people are ready to fight. And I'm not telling people, well, it was stolen from you. And I'm not telling people, that, oh, well, we need to rethink our strategy. And I'm not telling people any of the stupid bullshit takes that I'm hearing. Blue Sky. Are you familiar with what Twitter was? Now it's X. Are you familiar with Threads is? Blue Sky is another platform like that. It's bluesky.com. A lot of people really like it because it's very similar in format to Twitter. Spoutable is another one. Hey, this is a fight. I'm going to increase my reach as far as possible. I am going to be on Spoutable. I am. And that's something you can do. I am. I have promoted other people I do it all the time. I promote people all the time. One of my, I just do. Now I'm going to promote myself. You need to get people in our community, in that live chat, discussing what we're discussing, because that momentum matters. It really matters. It really, really matters. Blue Sky is free, yes. Just like every other platform, it's free. You just sign up and it's free. It's really easy too. We can. Vish, thank you for this comment. Thank you for bringing this up on the roundtable. We can. We can. You know why? So we had a shit election. Yeah. So they're going to gut our institutions. Yeah. So our country as we know it is over. Yeah, it is. No elections for a while that are actual real elections. Yeah. But you know what? You're still you. I'm still me. They still need you to show up to work. They do. They need you to show up to work. They won't come after you. They'll come after me. They'll come after me. I'm the hub. I'm the nexus for information. I'm the motivator. They'll come after me. Coming after you makes no sense. They need you. My nurses, my doctors, my lawyers, my truck drivers, my construction workers, waiters, waitresses, whatever. They need you to keep doing what you're doing. They're not going to come after you. They're not. They aren't. So yeah, worst case scenario, you're going to endure a more shitty country with fewer services. By the way, my governor is elated because now churches are now in the government revenue stream. They now have the votes to do vouchers, to take money directly out of our schools that they get in part from the federal government, and they're going to hand it to churches to run schools. And those schools always suck. They always fail. And all they are is recruitment centers for Republicans. That's it. That's all those schools ever are. But yeah, they're going to do that. But you're going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. It's going to suck. We're going to have to fight to change it. But you're going to be okay because you're still you. I'm still me. Go outside. The air is still there. It's going to get dirtier. It's going to get uglier. Weather's going to get worse, but there will still be air out there. You can touch the grass. The sun will still come up. But we got a hell of a fight ahead of us. And I'm telling you, it'll be a decade minimum. Before we have another free and fair election in this country, it'll be a decade. And I hope to God I'm wrong. Let me tell you something I saw that I wasn't going to talk about this. Just in case you weren't scared enough. Your institutions will not protect you. Your institutions will not protect you. What's going to happen is they're going to fail. They always do. Republicans always do. Because you see it. They're staying in campaign mode. They're not going to governing. You just canceled expensive Hulu package to basic, sending you the different. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you very much, Colleen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for helping me fight. I appreciate you. I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting rid of I've got Paramount, and I don't watch any. I watch Tulsa King's the only damn thing I watch on it. So I'm getting rid of Paramount. Yeah, everybody I know is cutting back. Everybody. And I lost track of what I was about to say. Sorry. It was important too. Look, that's it. That's all those schools ever are. And that just happened. I just completely lost my train of thought. I love you folks, and I mean this with all of my heart. I have to go into that shit so that I know what the hell they're going to do. And I can understand their strategy so that I can give you good strategy. And it sucks. You know what it's like talking to those people and listening to those people. It sucks. Being able to come here and just spend time with people that have the same type of brains. Thank you. Y'all reminded me. Pentagon. Your institutions would thank you. I'm back on track. Thank you. I love you people. Yeah, no kidding, right? Oh, look, a squirrel. I love you people so much. I do. I do. I'm not even kidding. That's in the comments. Squirrel. Seriously, though, the Pentagon, they're not going to resist this. The DOJ, the FBI, none of them. They're not going to resist this. None of them. These people have a fealty to a normalcy that no longer exists, and they're unprepared. So what's going to happen is this. Republicans are going to fail. They are. They've never been able to govern. They're going to fail. And even worse, they're even more, because it's paid off for them electorally, they're going to stay on this campaign footing, which means they're going to stay on the attack, which means they're not going to do the basics of governing. And they're going to put a lot of incompetent people in charge of a lot of very important agencies, and those agencies are going to fail. Those departments are going to fail. When they fail, neither their voters nor themselves have the mental wherewithal to self-evaluate and critically understand why they fail. Because they are low humans of a different species, they're going to point and they're going to say, aha, they're why we fail. And they're going to turn these institutions loose. My gay brothers and sisters, you need to be aware. My minority brothers and sisters, you need to be aware. My Jewish brothers and sisters, you need to be aware. When it starts to happen, it will happen quickly. It will happen violently. And you need to not be trying to formulate a plan when you're heartbroken and afraid. Sorry. You need that plan in place ahead of time. You got a little time. You do. This isn't going to happen tomorrow. It's not even going to happen over the next few months. But 9 months from now, a year from now, yeah, the first disaster will hit. Folks, one of the things I edited out of the show is there's an update on bird flu. It looks like it's fully mutated into a strain that will infect humans. Yeah. And this fucking orange clown is going to be running the government. When they fail, Remember, when they failed with COVID last time, what did they do? Did they self-evaluate and say, you know what, maybe we should have, did they do what we did where they said, you know, we should have a playbook, we should have a plan? No, they said, you know, he didn't get them vaccinations out, not because Trump's a failure, not because I messed up and voted for a guy that's a failure. Vaccinations are bad. Oh, screw you and your liberal mask. The guy I voted for can't get us masks, can't get us PPE. So I didn't do nothing wrong. My guy's not bad. No, you're stupid liberal masks. That's the kind of shit that's going to happen. But they're going to get to where they're pointing at people. They're going to get to where they're pointing at people. This is what terrifies me right here. Do you want to know what keeps me up at night about the future? It's this right here. Look, I really could see in the future not only us, because Putin owns Trump. He owns him lock, stock, and barrel. I could see U.S. weaponry in Russian hands. Really. And I wasn't joking about Poland or Moldova or any of the countries around there. Those people are like, fuck you. We just had an election. Elections have consequences, sometimes dire consequences. They just voted for a land war in Europe. They did. And again, this is for another show. There's a whole thing on it. Germany, the government in Germany just collapsed. Yeah. Scholz is out. He's trying for dear life to hold on. Our Canadian friends, Pierre, you got Justin Trudeau polling 20 points down. Folks, this is how it happens. If you study history, you understand this is really how these wars break out. It'll start out with appeasement. You'll get these right-wingers that think that they can make a deal, and this will blow up, and Europe will be on fire. It may take 2 years. It may take 4 years. But this is going to be a land war in Europe. I promise you. That is one of the results of this election. Well, folks, I love you. I've taken up enough time. We've gone an hour and a half. Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting up with my screen. Thank you for supporting the show. It's your job. If we're going to fight this, then fight it. If you're not out there doing what I'm doing, bring people into the flock, and let's do this. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.
Hey, Pootie, how's my favorite and fastest strong man? Besides myself, of course.
Вот сейчас мне в голову пришел анекдот, который недавно рассказывал своим коллегам.
Yeah, man, we did it. We stole the election, and just like we predicted, they rolled over without a fight because they were so worried about democracy and all that shit.
А мне один приятель из Германии его рассказал недавно.
Speaking of that goat humper, he's calling me right now. Let me put you on three-way. Hey, Elon, I'm on right now with Pootie.
Hey, Donald. Hey, Pootie. We did it, guys. We combined forces and ripped this one from right out under their feet. Now we're kings of the world.
Папа спрашивает у...
No, of course, Pootie. Of course, you are the real king. We are just here to serve you. And to that end, what is the first thing you would like us to do when we take office in January?
Now, hold on there a minute, Space Karen. I know you took several trips to Russia to coordinate the election hack with Pootie, but I'm still going to be the main man. I'm not looking for a co-president. You feel me?
Семья.
But that's not what you said before we hacked the election and I made 14 million votes disappear in swing states. I mean, come on, that was all me, bro.
Yes, I know, Elon, but just because you and your hacker army were able to flip the election doesn't mean you get like a second chair behind a big desk in the weird-shaped office. You know that, right?
Okay, this totally sucks. I told my mom that I would be co-president, and now you're telling me that isn't happening.
Ребенок спрашивает, а мы здесь при чем? А мы ввели санкции против русских. Зачем? Чтобы им было плохо. А мы что, русские?
Sorry, Vladimir. I'll work it out with the man baby here. You just keep being awesome.
Wait a minute. Who's calling who a man baby? Seriously, Donald, without me and Pootie, you would be on your way to being some big Bubba's prison bitch.
Папа, почему так холодно? Сын спрашивает у папы.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
We are cowardly, fighting to be Trump's enemy. We are cowardly, scared of MAGA pitchforks to break. We are dastardly, the prettiest of grifters you'll see. We bring tragedy, sniff and you can smell the stink.
Everyone can see through our bullshit as we kiss his eyes.
Think his fans are too stupid to notice. We turn truth to trash. All of the racists and haters, they say, can they sing that low? Just let us scream on the record. When he's convicted, we're going to go. We are cowardly. We are praying we'll get big for VP. We are desperately seeking any power he'll bring. We are cowardly. We would scrub and shitter with glee. We are cowardly. Laying waste to democracy.
Our tripping's fun and we've just begun to get revenge on them we despise.
If we hang on that loser, then we're next in line.
No, we don't give two shits if we break the laws, cause they're just for fools. I baked in us and there's lots of bugs. I'd have to pawn all of your family jewels.
Without shamelessly licking Trump's deep dark cavity. Sing it to me. We are brutally, I can hear you now, shredding Lincoln's old GOP. We are happy to be magazines, finding phony facts to impeach. We are magazines, are cowardly. Laying waste to democracy.
Haha, looks like you missed me, Sporok.
Think again, bitch.
Oh, shit.
Lieutenant Sporok, were the targets successfully extracted from the simulation?
Yes, Captain Brandon. I'm currently plotting their new coordinates in the Matrix.
Where are we sending the little jagoffs this time? The ice planet in the Ozempic 12-star sector, perhaps? I hear it's 800 degrees below zero this time of year.
No, sir. I've decided to give the bots a break and send them somewhere warm this time.
What? Are you kidding me? Have you gone soft on me, Sporok?
Check your monitor, sir.
You're killing me, Sporok. You're killing me.
So don't delay, act now. Supplies are running out. Allow if you're still alive. 6 to 8 years you arrive. And if you follow the make, be a tomorrow. But if the offer shun, you might as well be walking on the sun. You might as well be walking on the sun. So don't delay, act now. Supplies are running out. Allow if you're still alive. 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow the make, be a tomorrow. But if the offer shun, you might as well be walking on the sun.
Bye.
Out. They're freaking out. And the reason why they're freaking out is because they're trying to figure out if Trump is full of shit or he really wants to do the things he said. And everyone in his orbit is continuing to say, we're going to do the things we said. And that measure of austerity doesn't bode well with rich folks and corporations, because I don't know if you know this, but our corporations in this country are some of the biggest welfare queens that have ever fucking lived. Yes. They are the welfare queens. And government austerity does not sound good to a corporation who receives massive amounts, whether directly or indirectly, from government funding. And the thin veiled description of austerity to be efficiency is exactly what these corporate dogs are hearing. They know the truth, okay? They're not stupid. They're not stupid about how this is going to work. The efficiency of Elon Musk. No. They're not ridiculous to think that. And they're very, 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 very concerned. And again, I told you this in the weeks leading up to the election. Any business person at all, small, large, anyone who understands the business that they work in, even if they work for a salary or an hourly wage, if you voted for this guy to be in charge of the economy on what just their plans are, no one looked at what happened in Argentina. I mean, in Argentina, under this, MAGA president that they have down there, they introduced these same sort of austerity measures that Trump and MAGA and Elon Musk want to put in our country by cutting the government spending and lifting price controls and limits on how high prices can go. And it's still out of hand. Higher poverty rates, high inflation, job loss, recession, possible depression. The government, us, right? Because we're the government. We are the government. We choose who represents us in government. That's why this is so disappointing. Maddening. Still a hard realization. It really is. We are the biggest consumer in our economy. We, the people, are the biggest consumer, not individually, collectively. And the government provides a lot of that consumption. And that's how we redistribute the wealth in this country. And we build a backbone of economic power. What do you think the highways and bridges are for? You think that's just for your fucking convenience? Do you think they build a huge interstate system just so you could get from this place to this place 30 minutes less? You're No. We spent that money and that investment for the future of our economy and for our national security. It just so happens that it helps us move from place to place faster, which makes the economy more efficient, which makes it stronger. So we made the investment of more bridges, more roads, the interstate system. It's the reason why the infrastructure bill from the Biden administration is so goddamn important. Now, the sadness of that is that Trump's going to take credit for all of that. Oh, yeah, just like the Republicans did, right? They voted no on it. It was the worst thing. It was socialism. Fuck spending government money, oh, blah, 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 yakety schmackety. It went on forever, right? And in the end, they stood with the big old checks at the bridges. They're like, yeah, I did this. Even though I voted against it and I spoke out against it, I did everything that I could do to stop it. But I look, I brought you a check. They didn't do that. I guarantee you that Donald Trump is going to do a nationwide tour, and he is going to stand and say that Trump gave this money to this bridge, to this community. When it wasn't him, he wasn't the president of the United States. He actually tweeted about how bad it would be. He probably directed Republicans in the House and the Senate to vote against it because he was so jealous that Democrats were able to do the thing that Democrats do best, which is govern. They govern better than Republicans. It's the reason why Republicans don't want government is because their brains, their worldview doesn't allow them to functionally govern. That's why they want austerity. That's why they don't want government programs. That's why they don't want public education. It's the reason why they don't want science and research. Because all that stuff leads to the conclusion that their ideas suck. All that stuff, all that shit, all the data, all the fucking results of doing those things like infrastructure, like public education, like making sure people don't go broke because of medical bills, like making sure that people can retire when they're in their 60s as opposed to when they're in their 90s or they're taking a dirt nap. Making college education affordable for people who need it or want it to move and advance their career and to do well in the economy. All that stuff proves their ideas completely wrong. Completely fucking null and void. That's why they hate all that stuff. I mean, yeah, some of it's rooted in bigotry and hatred, right? That's where their root cause is. They don't want black and brown people. I don't want you to get your poor brown welfare because I want my rich white welfare, right? I mean, that's some of the sentiment. So some of it's bigotry, some of it's classism. Like, hey, my family has been doing well in this country for centuries. And you just came here and now you're rich? Well, fuck that. You're stealing our wealth. You're stealing our heritage, right? There's a little bit of that sentiment. There's the thing that Trump was saying, black jobs, they're going to come here and they're going to take black jobs, black jobs, black jobs. Where he pits community against community, that's always their ideas to divide us. It's easier to defeat us if they divide us. It's the reason why he was able to defeat us this time. He divided us up. He divided us up, man. He did a damn good job of it. And I know a lot of people are still in this pattern where they want to believe that somehow there's some conspiracy theory out there and spend the tinfoil hat shit that the machines were changed or this was this or this was that. There would already be evidence, folks. There would already be evidence. There would already be evidence. There's not. We did this. Whether we did it because we went and voted for him, whether we did it even though we did the right thing and we voted for her, or a lot of people sat at home and did nothing. We as a collective, we as a nation, we have done this. And I know that is a tough reality, but it is reality. But more realities are coming. I think the House of Representatives looks better today for Democrats than it looked yesterday. If that gives you any sense of hope, if you're needing hopium, I don't know that it's much hope. You know, a lot of people are feeling, well, just fuck it. Let this country feel the full brunt of MAGA fascism, right? Let them feel the full brunt of MAGA fascism. Let Mike Johnson be the Speaker of the House. Let them pass the laws that they want to pass. Let's not obstruct. Let's not delay. And let's get right down to it and show the nation and show the world who they are. And there's a little bit of sense of me that's like, yeah, that's what we should do. Let's just fuck it, right? Fuck it. Let's just get on with the inevitable. Why obstruct and delay what is going to happen regardless? So a little bit of the nihilism in me wants that, but it appears that there's probably going to be several recounts. It will probably go into next week before we actually know who will have the majority of the House. But it is very clear that whoever has the majority of the House, it is going to be a slim majority. I'm talking 1, 2, maybe 3 votes. Whether it's Hakeem Jeffries or Mike Johnson, who is the Speaker of the House. So that is a reality that is coming. That will be news that is coming. That is part of this process. So I think if we're going to talk about election integrity and we're going to make wild accusations, what we should do, if we're going to use that energy, we should use that energy in these races now. And the reason why is because in Pennsylvania, they called the race, I believe AP. Let me see if AP has still got this race called. Yes, they still have the race called in Pennsylvania for McCormick. But it feels like to me that they may switch this. And the reason why they may switch this is because this thing is within like 40,000 votes in Pennsylvania. And there's still plenty of votes out there to be counted. And Dave McCormick, who is the Republican, is already filing lawsuits, which he is losing in Pennsylvania because we still have a Democratic federal administration. He is losing in these court systems but the point is that he's filing these lawsuits because he has the possibility of losing here. If he ran away with this and it's a done deal, he would not be filing these lawsuits. So it is possible that we even keep Bob Casey in the Senate in Pennsylvania. And if it holds and those courts hold, that show that yes, we will have that gain and they will have that loss in the Senate. Maybe we'll just be it's possible that we'll be at a 52-48 majority for Republicans in the Senate, which doesn't allow them much room, but it could allow them room to do some crazy shit if they have a Mike Johnson in the House. So these are the realities that are coming in the next week. And we have to prepare for them. We have to message for them. We have to be ready for these things because we cannot get more defeated than we already are. It is very important that we keep these narratives in the scope of reality. So, someone asked, "Is this a live broadcast?" Yes, it is live right now. Now, you might have noticed that the last few days I've been re-airing this broadcast at different times during the day, and we're going to keep doing that. And we may do more of that. And the reason why we are going to do that is to get our voices out there more to more people at different times during the day. I feel like a lot of people know that this messaging is possibly the messaging that could hold on to what we have of liberalism left in this country. We're not going to rely on the talentless and the boring grifters. Okay. The pod lost America, as we should call them. That's right. Pod lost America. I'm not going to play the game of being nice to our side when they play nice, when these people come at us and they have taken away what we have taken. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to lay around with the lazy, boring strategist from 20 years ago. I'm not going to sit here and listen to people who haven't lived the life that we have lived, us normies out here, and know how to speak normie. I'm not going to I'm not going to play nice with academics and intellectuals that want to say that I am a dum-dum. I might be a dumb hillbilly, but this dumb hillbilly knows how to message. This dumb hillbilly knows how to broadcast. And I'm going to lean into it, and I'm going to be proud of it. I'm going to be proud of how good I am at doing this. And I'm going to brag about it more and more, and I'm going to say louder and prouder that, by God, we should be in the forefront. Because if we were in the forefront, we wouldn't have been Pod Lost America. We would have been Pod Saves America. If we weren't so goddamn boring and put the boring elites, that's right, I said it, the boring elites, the talentless, the grifters out front. Now, there's going to be a little grifting here, but I'm very transparent about it. I'm very transparent about the support of this show and you supporting this show and how the support of the show affects this broadcast. But I'm not going to inundate you with shit you got to do and shit you got to spend and how much money here and how much money there. Join this membership. Join that membership. Give me more money here. Give me more money there. I mean, I have to stay making a living. I have to afford to do this, which I cannot, but I will do my best. And I will make those sacrifices if I need to. But we shall no longer. You should turn off. You should turn off Pod Lost America and anyone like Pod Lost America. Anyone that you see that has similarities to Pod Lost America. It's the truth. And yes, this broadcast is live, so thank you, JoJo, for being on this broadcast, and thank all of you for being on this broadcast every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific, as we're live for those two hours, and we broadcast every single evening and every morning, and we will be rebroadcasting these lives more and more and more in the daily schedule, so don't miss them and don't go anywhere, because we're going to be right back right after this.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? It's a rhetorical question at best. We'll be right back on the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Letters from the Trucker Convoy.
Dearest Tammy, by the time we reached D.C., we was 50 strong in number. Some patriots ran out of gas along the way. We got plenty of Slim Jims, Skull, near run out, Natty Light. Hope it don't rain tomorrow, so we can circle the city again. Yours, Bob.
Dear Bob, I'm fixing to send you some more of them Doritos you like, the red bag, not the lib-loving blue one. In your absence, I discovered a rash on my neck, and no, it ain't no hickey, and I ain't even seen my cousin Brody in ages. Stay strong. Wipe your ass at least once a day. Yours, Tammy.
Fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em. We're back to the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks for sticking around through the break. You know, we're live here every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, XChan, and Rumble. You can also download. That's right. You can also download every single episode on your favorite audio directory, whether it be Spotify or Apple. Whichever, even if you have some other ones out there that you like to download the episode on, it's on all directories everywhere. You just search the Tony Michaels Podcast on that directory, you will find it. And while you're here, while I have you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, you're going to want to do that. And the reason why is because we got to get our voice out there and we got to get it heard on every single level and every single ear as much as we possibly can. That's the other reason why I want to rebroadcast. Reason why is because we need to have these values and this message in front of as many people as possible, as much of the day as possible. And with your help and your support, we are going to do that. And the best way to support this show and shows like it is to watch them, to listen to them. That's the best thing you can do. Be an engaged audience member. That's the number one thing you can do to support this message and messages like it, is to come here every day and listen and engage. It's the most important part. I'm never going to leave that narrative that engaging our democracy is what will save it. Not disengaging, not canceling your social media accounts, not posting on social media, just not talking to people about politics anymore. Don't get discouraged about your democracy. Get engaged in it. I know that the reality is that this country may not be what we thought it was on Monday. But I think there are enough out there, even people who voted for Trump. Yes, I really do believe that. I think there is a future 10 years from now where there are audience members of this show who say, I came here originally to see the Rush Limbaugh of the left, the people that the left wanted to be the Joe Rogan, to try to rise up this brand of liberalism. And I hated the guy at first. I disagreed with almost everything he said, but then it started to make sense. The more I listened to him, the more he said it. And the more people who came and agreed with me that, hey, I agree with about 60% of what Tony says. You know what? I do too. I can't stand when he says this, this, or this, but goddamn, 70% of the time I agree with him. You're right. About 80% of the time I agree with Tony and people like him. And by God, I'm willing to say that his message is probably spot on. And they voted for Trump 3 times. I'm telling you, that future is there. It is there. I know it feels like I'm full of fucking shit. And sometimes I even kind of bullshit myself, if you want to know the honest truth. It is one of the easiest way for humans to cope, is to bullshit ourselves. It is the reason why we're in the situation we're in, because a lot of people in this country have bullshitted themselves and let the right-wing media brainwash them into bullshitting themselves about the problems that they have. And it is going to be a difficult task to undo all that, but I think we can work on it. And I think over time we can make it happen. The question is can we get that out there before they bring MAGA censorship? I don't know, but I'm sure going to try. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you staying here. And I appreciate you watching, if you are rewatching those broadcasts or if you're sharing those rewatch broadcasts. But I think if you're watching the rebroadcast of this now, you're probably a new audience member. So I want to welcome you as well, because it's possible that you're watching it on a time slot on the platform that you prefer, because that's when you watch stuff on that platform. So now we're joining you and you're joining us. So I want to welcome you to the broadcast, and I want to welcome you as you're watching the show on a rebroadcast. So don't think that I'm not very aware that you may be watching this on a rebroadcast. So thanks for the JoJo earlier for asking if this is a live broadcast. It was it's a great one. Let me show you the map here. So I think it's worth seeing the map of the House. Again, it looks like Bob Casey might have a chance of turning the AP results around for Pennsylvania, the Senate seat there. But, you know, I don't think we should get too invested. If we get too invested in this seat or that seat or this seat or that seat or what the number is going to be, I think we're going to drive ourselves fucking crazy. Right? That's going to be torture on us, that we're holding out hope for one election and one recount. Don't do that to yourself. Right? We've got to make sure that we get in a position where our heads are in the right spot to move our message forward. But here is the map. And again, that's why I don't do this a lot. is show you maps and stuff and statistics and polls and all that kind of stuff. Is because sometimes it's it's not a good, it's a bad. But here's the map right now: 199, which is an increase in Democrats, in 211. Now there needs to be 218 for a majority, and you can see that Democrats have lost 2 seats and GOP has gained 2 seats. So that's where they're at right now. Now Democrats ended up with flipping some seats in New York. There's still a lot of count out in Washington, Oregon, and California, and even Arizona. So there's still some of those seats that could give us a slim majority if it's a slim majority, but that's the reality, is it's not going to be a huge one. No matter who wins it, no matter who wins this House, it is going to be the slimmest of numbers. So be aware of that. Okay, I want to show you, I showed you a clip of Jerome Powell. I think we're going to have a guest on possibly here. So hold for that. But I want to show you, where is it? I want to show you another clip here. And I think it's an important one to watch. Okay, now we showed this clip before. This is a clip from the Benny Johnson show. And he has Mike Davis on. Now, Mike Davis is, I don't know if he will be or not. I think he's on the short list of AG. So this is Benny Johnson. He is a MAGA right-wing Russian propagandist. He's been paid by Russia to spew his propaganda on his show. Okay, this Benny Johnson here, he's a Russian propagandist. And then you have his Russian operative here, Mike Davis. And Mike Davis is being touted as maybe a possible attorney general under this Trump administration. This next MAGA Reich, as we would call it. I want, this is an old clip. I'm not sure exactly when this is from. I think this is from 2021. No. It might be from 2022, 2023. It is definitely more than a year old. And I played this clip a couple times on the show, but these clips are starting to resurface. And the reason why these clips are starting to resurface is because they were describing out loud exactly what a Trump administration, if they were in the Trump administration, would look like. And I think it's important for us to hear even what they've said in the past about what the future could hold if we were to elect them. Now, again, I played this a couple times on the show as a reason to give people, hey, probably not a good idea to elect him, but now I'm showing it to show you, now that you've elected him, this is what you have elected. Take it away.
Mike, I've never called for lava to rain down from the heavens, but maybe upon Washington, D.C. Would you be that sweet red hot lava for us?
I've never been called sweet, and you call me Sweet Ginger. So I think I meant then. But during my 3-week...
Okay, I've made fun of that opening before, and you take it for what it's worth, and maybe people will call me a homophobe, but wow, it seems like these guys have, smooched before. I take it for what it's worth, but the most important part is coming up of what Mike and Benny are laughing at, not just their clearly weird closeted joke, but the reality of what they want to do to people in this country. Take a listen.
Reign of terror as Trump acting attorney general. Before I get chased out of town with my Trump pardon, I will rain hell on Washington, D.C.
Okay, so it's very important that you're hearing what he's saying. And I pointed this out every time I showed this clip, but I'm going to point it out in a different way now. The reason why I'm going to point it out a different way now is because it is reality. It is not what can come. It is what is going to come. Donald Trump likely will pick an attorney general who will be an acting attorney general. And the reason why is because it's going to be hard to get some of the people he wants in his administration. And really, honestly, he's not going to want to go through the hassle of trying to choose people based on who the Senate will confirm. Okay. Donald Trump learned this very well in his first administration. He learned very well that it was very difficult and it was a very hard job being president. And it was a very difficult job and even maybe a harder job of picking the people to do the jobs that they would do to run the executive branch. That was very difficult. And he does not want to do any of that work. Any of that kind of work is difficult, and anything difficult Donald Trump does not want to do. He does not want to do it. So what did he do during his administration? He would place people in lower roles, and then what he would do is work them up to be acting. So he didn't actually have to have a confirmation. So they're not. So it is likely that we will, under the next Trump administration, we will never actually have an attorney general of the United States. It is very possible. It is very possible that we will not have a secretary of defense. It is very possible that we will not have a secretary of state. We will have acting. They will not be confirmed by the law, how we normally do it. They will be acting as if they are pretending, properly in the Trump universe. They're technically, legally pretending to be. Oh my God. I fucking played this clip like 4 times. But now it is the reality. And he says this, that he's going to be chased out of Washington. And the reason why is because he knows the things that he is going to do or wants to do is pure brutality. It's cruelty. So if this is Trump's acting attorney general, tell us, Mike Davis, what you will actually do.
We've talked about this, Ben. I have 5 lists ready to go, and they're growing. List number 1, we're going to fire. We're going to fire a lot of people in the executive branch, the deep state. Number 2, we're going to indict. We're going to indict Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and James Biden and every other scumball, sleazeball Biden, except for the 5-year-old granddaughter who they refused to acknowledge for 5 years until the political pressure got to Joe Biden. Number 3, we're going to deport. We're going to deport a lot of people, 10 million people and growing, anchor babies, their parents, their grandparents. We're going to put kids in cages. It's going to be glorious. We're going to detain a lot of people in the DC Gulag and Gitmo. And list number 5,
Okay, so I want to go back to that one he just said. He's talking about rounding up political opponents. Now, I know, like, mass deportation sounds like, they're going to get rid of the illegal aliens, and that is their goal. That is the imagery that they want. They're going to have some sort of imagery that they are carrying out their promise of absolutely being brutal to brown people in this country and black people in this country. They're going to have some sort of imagery, like, dressing up at McDonald's to pretend like you're the working class and you pretended to work for 15 minutes, like that imagery. Or you're one of the working class, so you put on a garbage man costume and climb up into a trash truck. That kind of imagery, that kind of staged show. I hope that it's just a staged show, but I'm not counting on it. I'm not counting on this just to be a stage measure. I'm counting on this to be a full-scale operation. But what he's talking about with the Gulag and Gitmo is much, much more past just deporting people who would come here to make a different life, migrants. He's describing something totally different. But go ahead, Mike. Tell us what else you're going to do.
I'm going to recommend a lot of pardons. Every January 6th defendant is going to get a pardon, especially my hero Horn Man. He is definitely at the top of the pardon list.
So he's talking about Jacob Chansley there, the QAnon shaman. And of course, they're going to award the worst of the worst conspiracy theorist. And if that gives you any kind of hope, maybe that gives you some hopium. I don't actually think he's going to pardon all the January 6ers. No, Donald Trump's not that kind of person. You got to remember who Donald Trump is. And even the people around him will probably not convince him to pardon all of them, even though they will try. Okay, they're probably going to try to convince him to do that. But Donald Trump is is only for himself. So the only way that they're going to convince him to pardon these people is if it's good for him. Okay? He will have to be convinced that it is ultimately good for him. Now, he's kind of a buffoon. If you haven't noticed, he's kind of an idiot. He's kind of ignorant, right? He's kind of that way, but he's not completely stupid. But he is a buffoon. And one way that you play that buffoon fiddle, especially with Trump, is apathy. And they're going to use any amount of any emotion that they can get out of this guy to get what they want. But I don't actually think he's going to blanket pardon all of them. Blanket pardoning all of them is like, it is such an un-Trumpian thing to do. And the reason why is because he's totally going to pardon people who will hurt him if he does that. And he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Donald Trump is not going to use his power to hurt himself intentionally as he sees it. So there's that. So this clip is really important. And again, it's circulating out there on the internet. A lot of people are confused that this is happening, that this has been said just in the last few days. It has not been said in the last few days. And I want you to know that, and I want you to point that out. And the reason why is because it might be a good time to talk to folks who think that this was just said in the last few days to say, no, actually, this has been on the record for a long time. And people like Tony have been pointing this out for a long time. A long time. So if you're disgusted by this, maybe what you should do is go watch a piece of media. Maybe what you should do is go watch a show or consume the news or consume what is happening to our country, consume it in a way that aligns with your disgust. Because if you would have been here a year ago or a year and a half ago when I showed this, you probably would not have voted for Trump. Just saying. I'm just saying. And you probably would have found it very vital to get out and vote against Trump, not sit at home and do nothing and be complacent and part of the problem that we have. All right. Let's see here. I have another one. Ooh, I have another one. Yes, I do. I have another one here. Now, I think this one is recent, as a matter of fact. This is the same Benny Johnson and Mike Davis. Now, again, Mike Davis is potentially on the AG list, so the Attorney General list for Donald Trump. And again, here's the video here. You can see they're more defiant. You see they're a little more scared. They're not as happy about talking about, raining down fascist cruelty on the country. It's kind of like they're a little gobsmacked too. Okay. I played you a clip the other day of Mike Flynn really kind of walking back what he said in the past. And I actually have a little bit of news on Mike Flynn, not Mike Flynn specifically, but Mike Flynn allies that are surrounding him. And we'll kind of go through that and see what that is. But this here, you can see the looks on their faces. They're a little more afraid to be like, yeah, we're going to round them up. We're going to kill them. We're going to be cruel and brutal to these people. A little more stoic about it than joking about it. Maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe they were serious. Take a listen to see how serious you think it could be.
Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights, and I promise you that. So,
okay, so he's obviously threatening them with action because they were seeking law and order under their mandate that was done while they were elected. Now, again, if you notice their little aim of their broligarchy here and their bro talk, this is why I hate the bro shit. I hate the bro shit. I kind of exude it sometimes. Like a lot of people think I'm a bro because I wear the backwards hat, I kind of sound like a bro. I was a bro at one time. I was part of the broligarchy at one time.
Doyle rules.
Yeah, bitch. And I thought it was really fucking stupid. Like there was a point, and I'm not going to tell the story now, but I remember vividly when I was like, this is the dumbest shit on earth. This worldview is so stupid, right? Now, it took me a while to evolve to that point, but I remember the point where I chose to not do that anymore, to not participate that. But it didn't change who I was and where I came from. It didn't change my experiences. It doesn't change how I look, my mannerisms, my language patterns. It didn't change a lot of that. So that's why a lot of people get confused when they come watch this show at first. They're like, no, Tony definitely voted for Trump, right? He definitely voted. Wait, he's saying all kinds of crazy shit that would lead me to believe that he didn't vote for Trump, but he seems like one of those dudes that would. And it's kind of confusing. But, I use my brain cells, rub them together a bit, manufacture some thought, logically thought through the process of what was good for all people in this country, and that my position in the broligarchy was not exactly helping all people. It was only helping me. So I decided that it was probably a bunch of bullshit. Now, there's not like an official card, right? There's not like we don't have like white privilege memberships. I want you to know that. It's more like a wink and a nod type stuff, right? That's why a lot of people are confused about black men and Hispanic men voting for Trump. They're a little confused by it. But those men, I believe, and I'm not one of them. I'm not a black man. I'm not a Hispanic man. But I believe in my experience in the broligarchy, black men and Hispanic men want to participate in that broligarchy. So I think that they want to be white. If I can, I'll just say it. Fuck it. They want to be white. There are some people, men of color out there who are part of or want to be part of the hierarchy of the broligarchy. If you can, the hierarchy of the. I'm doing poetry today. Son of a bitch. But they want to have a sense of being accepted into that privileged type club. So they intentionally exude and support and demand that broligarchy be in charge. And that's what Mike's language pattern is here. If you take a listen again.
Your lawfare against President Trump in his second term. Because listen here, sweetheart.
Listen here, sweetheart. Us men aren't going to put up with you powerful women anymore. We're going to crush powerful women, because it ain't about the attorney general going after Trump. Folks, if Trump never leaves office, if that's his intention, he will never see justice in the state of New York. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. So this idea that Tish James is going to be able to hold Donald Trump accountable while he's president is bonkers. It's bonkers. It's not going to happen. Jack Smith ain't going to hold him accountable. DOJ, all that's gone. All that stuff is gone. Whoop, gone. It's all gone.
Oh, shut up, silly woman.
And here we are with the broligarchy, and they're doing broligarchy things, calling her sweetie. And then he says, what does he say?
We're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for.
We will put your fat ass in prison. See, this is why I when people tell me not to fat shame Trump or fat shame Chris Christie or fat shame anybody, I'm like, fuck you. You can go to hell. You can go to fucking hell. If you believe that we can stand around and let them activate this type of language and this type of dominance over people and us not do the same to them, you are outside your mind that we are going to win this. You are outside your fucking mind. You are tethered to a totally different reality if you are tethered to reality at all. If you believe that we can stand around and just be offended. Oh, offended. Look, I'm not offended that he called her a fat ass. I'm not. I could care less that he called her a fat ass. That's why I'm the one poised to fight these bastards in the media. because I'm not offended by it. I could care less. I'm not going to sit here and whine and cry about how he calls her a fat ass, because I'm telling him the person he worships is a fat fucking slob. Have you ever seen this guy in his golf costume? And that stupid fucking polo and his goddamn circus tent khakis to cover the fucking diaper that he shits himself in because he can't get off the golf course to go take a dump? And then I'm sure Walt Mata has to change him after he gets off the golf course, that fat fucking slob. Have you seen speaking of genitalia, Mike, speaking of genitalia, you little bitch. What about the guy that you worship that's got a pussy on his neck, huh? He's got genitalia that he shows on his neck. You fucking weirdo. Is that what you like about Trump? Is that he puts his pussy out there for everyone to see over his collar? Huh? Is that what you like about it? That's how you come at these bastards. No one will do that. The media won't do it. The boob tube shit libs won't do it. No one. No one does it. And it's the thing that needs to start happening. And it's been happening here on this show for a long goddamn time, but not enough people have been seeing it and hearing it and making them aware that, hey, there's someone out there that's willing to push back on you and use the same broligarchy type privilege, the same broligarchy type language pattern, the same broligarchy type attitude and culture to push back on your fascism. Because I'm going to be honest with you, men are not the problem. It's the culture that is the problem. If we change the culture, the broligarchy can defend women. The broligarchy can defend women's rights because it's important to them to have a strong society, not a divided society. The men aren't the problem. It's the culture. It's the culture they have created. And we must create another culture. And yes, we are going to have to tap into some of their worst instincts to create that culture, because that's how we attract them to the new culture, to the new community of broligarchy. And if they can find a familiar language pattern, a familiar message, but in the opposite direction, we might be able to turn them around. I mean, they turned these guys into toxic sludge. If you think that the broligarchy was born toxic sludge, you were wrong. They were raised, they were groomed, they were brainwashed to be the toxic sludge that they are. And they are terrified. They are terrified that and have been terrified since the Me Too movement, that their toxic sludge is no longer acceptable. And they decided to lay down all their differences, all their differences and all their division to have one reason to be in power. And that's to tell the truth to women, to bring our cruelty to women. Well, Mike, I hate to tell you, but you do shit that's illegal. If you do shit that's illegal and break the law, we might just stick your little fat ass in prison, son. So beware. Beware of the snake when you're when you're worshiping it. Because the snake might just turn around and bite you, my friend. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
We'll be right back. Mark, 60 seconds. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch. Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable, and more secret things. Need delivery? Pizzas come fast. Knock, knock, who's there? Pizza magic. Eat Pepperoni Hug Spot pizza. Your tummy say thank you. Your mouth say, Pepperoni Hug Spot. It's like family, but with more cheese.
Catch Tony's Twitch stream, The Shit List Roundup, at twitch.tv/The Tony Michaels. We're back to the king of brilliance. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Welcome back to the show. Go to thetonymichaels.com. That's thetonymichaels.com. Follow me everywhere on the internet. Share this show around. Share my links around. Come and join us as we rebroadcast. And if you're watching this on a rebroadcast, whether it be early in the morning or later in the evening, thank you for joining us. There's some news that has happened. We knew this was probably coming as far as like what is going to happen. You know, what's some of the consequences of electing Donald Trump. And, you know, this is a revenge vote here because there are some people, you know, everyone went and voted a different way or the same way, but a different reason. Depending on one reason of why is probably not good for our society. We have to understand how we got to this place, and we have to understand it. We have to have the conversation about us as a people. And it's going to be okay to have those conversations. A lot of it's going to be difficult. A lot of it's going to be hard. A lot of it's going to be a difficult truth for the left to hear. A lot of it is going to be very difficult for the left to hear. And the left is going to be very offended when we say certain things. And just remember, you have the right to be offended, but we have the right not to give a fuck if you're offended. Okay? And liberals need to stop this shit lib stuff where they're offended by every little thing. And they're just going to cancel anyone who says anything, no matter what the context is. Yes, I am pushing back on the idea of cancel culture and the boycott culture. It is dumb as dog shit. It is not going to get us anywhere in this state, in this timeline that we're in. Boycotting Twitter is not going to win you the next election if we have one. It's not. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is not. And really, honestly, and I'm going to be the other bearer of bad news, and it may hurt your feelings, and it may offend you, and that's okay. But leaving Twitter makes you a coward. Leaving a social media platform makes you, because you don't want to be there anymore because you lost, makes you a coward. It does. Some other cowardly measures. Well, let's talk about government as cowards. Here you go.
Now from Washington, where Special Counsel Jack Smith has now informed federal judge Tanya Chutkan that his office will decide by December 2nd how to proceed with the federal election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump.
I am so glad that MSNBC is apparently getting rid of Andrea Mitchell. You don't know how much of a move it is into the next generation of media to get rid of Andrea Mitchell. She is so horrible. Horrible. One of the worst normalizers of Trump and modern Republicans. One of the worst, because she believes in some alternate reality that Republicans are the same now as they were 20 years ago and 30 years. They're the same ones. They're not bad. They're not bad for our democracy or our society. They just have different beliefs than us. No, their policies are going to destroy our democracy. Their policies are going to make sure to have a rise of fascism. They are not good. They are not good. They are the baddies. And the ones who promote the bad stuff and who want to push the policies and get elected are the real evil and the real enemy of our democracy here. The people who vote for them aren't necessarily, they're just a brainwashed little sheep. That's the mission that we have to change our democracy, is to change the minds of the people. I mean, it took a lot. It took a lot in the 1930s and the early 40s to get people to understand what was happening in Europe. It took a lot. I mean, the only way we got in the war in 1941 was one of their allies, Japan. and came and murdered thousands of soldiers, Navymen in Pearl Harbor, and committed an act of war on us. It took, let me describe this to you. It took thousands of our shipmen and people in Pearl Harbor to die under the act of war from Japan for us to enter the war, to take Hitler seriously. In 1941, in the later part, December 7th, as a matter of fact, it's coming up soon, just within the next month, the anniversary of that infamous day in history. It took that for us to understand and get together as a people to collectively say no to fascism. We are not anywhere close to that. 1933, almost 10 years before, Hitler was appointed chancellor. It wasn't until 1939 that Hitler gave his famous speech where he would describe the only way for Aryan prosperity was to exterminate the Jewish people. From 1933 to 1939, there was a 6-year difference. And Hitler got on stage and announced to the world that what he was going to do was exterminate the Jewish people. And it was his goal. It was his number one prize, because that prize would afford Aryans prosperity. That was a lie he told, because it was a big lie. Because if you don't know that, Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany ended just 6 years later in 1945. Whoops. That didn't work out, did it? And it's because the world woke up. Now, the most disappointing thing is now we're kind of on the opposite side of that spectrum. I don't know where we're at in the timeline. I don't know where we're 1929, we're 1933. It really feels like this is a 1933 moment. So on the timeline of the life of fascism, if we're on 1933, we're that point in history's 6 years away from the obvious tell of the danger that is about to be brought to the world, not to our country, to the world. And it would take 2 years later that America would enter that war against Hitler in a very overt fashion. We were kind of in the war in a covert fashion. We were supplying a lot of support to our allies, the British, especially through our Air Force, because the Air Force was vital to protecting the UK at the time. But it took 2 years from the point where Hitler said, we're going to exterminate all the Jewish people and that'll solve all our white people problems. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he said it in much more fluent German than I could ever. Now, I don't know if our timeline is faster because of how information flows, right? We got, I mean, in 1933, you have to understand it took a while for information to travel. It's faster than what you would believe, right? I mean, there were telephones, there were broadcasting stations, right? So information could travel pretty rapidly, but not like today, and not like today. Basically, making sure that it's categorized and make sure the algorithm delivers the person exactly what they want to see, which is horrifying, right? But I don't, maybe just maybe that makes our timeline slower, right? And the reason why it makes our timeline slower, maybe if we do our jobs of being loud and getting all kinds of crazy and just maybe that slows that down, because we're going to get information in front of people if you share this broadcast, if you watch this show, if you exude this messaging, this new brand of liberalism, all right, that we talk about every day on this show, that we send broadcast all across the world in a moment's notice, where thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, hopefully millions and tens of millions will listen in the coming couple years. So maybe that makes it slower. Maybe we can slow down that timeline. Maybe, just maybe, because we can share the correct information when it needs to be shared and not be afraid of the information, because this is a stark reality, folks. This reality here where Jack Smith is not going to be the special counsel and they are not going to seek charges against Trump. That means not only do all those cases go away, all that evidence may be lost in history. We may never know. We may never know. Because if you don't know Donald Trump, let me tell you what I know about Donald Trump. He 100% is going to try to do everything in his damnedest to erase that history. Erase it and erase the evidence of it. The only remnants that we may have is our memories and what we have already seen and know. That's it. Anything we don't see and know, we will not. So I hope that Jack Smith decides, if he's going to dismiss this case, that he is willing to lay the evidence out there for the world to see, so we know it. So that this administration and Joe Biden and Merrick Garland, you sons of bitches, and Jack Smith, you do the right thing and show the world what happened. Even if there's not going to be accountability, maybe we can hold these fucks accountable in the years to come with our messaging, with our narrative, and if we have our vote still. I am not sure if we are going to be able to vote again. I think we got a good chance at the midterm, but I do not have hope for a presidential election. And it's just a stark reality. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I was not hoping the wrong that I was on Tuesday, right? I was not hoping for that wrong. But I've changed my ways. I do not trust what we think is the reality. We have to operate in a world that we do not know what can happen. And we have to be honest about the things that they're saying they want to do. And we got to be honest with ourselves to know who Trump is and what he is capable of. And he 100% is capable. 100% is capable to try to cover this up. So my suggestion, if Jack Smith and Merrick Garland can hear me, and that's, you know, that makes a good point, because they're not going to hear me, right? They're not going to hear me now today. I mean, it's November 8th, Friday, you know. I'm not the Joe Rogan that everyone wants someone to have. I don't have this mega amplifier that I may have 2 months from now, a month from now, the year from now, where these people may have to listen. Because imagine that. Imagine the people who are in power have to account for what the media would say about the actions that they would take. Imagine a world where this country listens to someone at a microphone and say, you know what? They're correct. It may be a harsh reality. It may be something that I don't really want to come to grips with. That doesn't make me feel comfortable and cozy inside, but this person is right. This person is correct. And when people in power have to be held accountable to people saying the hard truth, that Jack Smith really fucked this up. He really fucked this up. And I know a lot want to blame it on Merrick Garland, which, you know, the buck always stops at the boss. But Jack Smith did not indict Rudy Giuliani. Jack Smith did not indict Jeffrey Clark and John Eastman. Jack Smith did not indict the foot soldiers that were around Donald Trump that did his bidding to commit a coup. He tried to save our country with his power. To only go after Trump, to chop the head off the snake. So this guy is a failure. Jack Smith is a failure. He is not our hero. I know that sucks. That's a hard reality. He can still do heroic acts. He can still put some right out there, but he did wrong by our country. He did wrong by himself, and he did wrong by our democracy by not doing his job, prosecuting criminals. He tried to save our democracy by going after only Trump. And he let us down. They let us down, folks. They made political calculations because they didn't want it to be political. Well, you made it political by making calculations. They made calculations about timing and how can we get him in prison before he runs for re-election. Wild mistake. Now we're never going to know what the others really did, what the others participated in, and they're going to walk free too. It ain't just going to be Trump that walks free on this. Because this guy decided he knew what was best to save our democracy instead of doing his job. Well, I'm going to do my job. Because my job is to call out what needs to be called out. That's my job. I understand my purpose. I understand what the value I bring is. And it's the ability for me to articulate in a specific type of way. When I see something that hurts the foundation of our democracy, and it saddens me to no end to have to point the finger. Because I know a lot of people are pointing the finger at Merrick Garland, and I'm not saying I'm not doing that, because Merrick Garland, the buck does stop on his desk because he is the Attorney General of the United States. But this guy was assigned as a special counsel. And he failed. Miserably, he failed. I believed in him. I believed that Donald Trump wouldn't win in a fight with Jack Smith. Wouldn't win the legal battle against him. But I started to have my doubts when Jack Smith was only focusing on Donald Trump. You guys know that. I've said that, I don't know, probably the last 6, 8, 9 months. When I really started to have doubt that this guy was not going to do what he should do. He's not going after all the people who perpetrated these crimes, and that is his mission, that is his job, that is his goal, that should be his mandate. And he rejected that mandate because he wanted to create the mandate of his own. He wanted to be the hero without a cape. In certain times, it is not the hero we want that is important. It is the hero we need. Merrick Garland was not the hero we needed. Jack Smith was not the hero we needed. We needed someone who was much more cold, less calculated. Used their power and wielded their power with broad precision, not narrowed precision. And come December 2nd, if Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, the DOJ does not release deluges of evidence of what happened on January 6th, so we know what happened in the lead up and during and right after, as far as I'm concerned, they can go get fucked. Because it may be our only chance for the truth to survive. It may be the only chance. For what happened on in the lead up of Trump's coup attempt. So that way we do not let it happen again. And I know that sounds crazy because now he's going to be the president. And, oh man, are we going to believe? Are we going to blah, 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 yakety schmackety. But without any of that truth, we may not be able. We may not be able to message to people who are easily deluded to feel good about themselves in the situation we're in. Because not only do we, liberals and people who supported Kamala Harris and wanted democracy and voted for democracy, want the truth and need the truth, whether we like it or not, because that's the truth. That's the fucking truth. We got to come to this hard reality, this harsh reality, whether we like it or not. I'm going to use the language of Trump. The people who voted for Trump need to have the opportunity to also come to that harsh reality. Rather they accept that harsh reality, at least we should present it to them. That's the main key. Whew, it really does suck. It really does suck that all that shit's going to fall down. None of it's going to be known. But it is the reality of it. Here is, I told you I'd give you a little insight onto something that's happening. I don't know if this is like a good thing, a bad thing. We got about 8 minutes left in the show. So I want to show you the story that's popping up all over the internet. And it's popping up on local news stations, but I don't know that the national news and the national narrative has really picked up on it. So what I want to do is show this to you because we are now the Joe Rogan of the left, I guess, instead of Rush. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Spread this around, maybe we will be. But Jim Stewartson pointed this out, this clip out of a local news station where there was a federal raid on a person called Alfie Oakes. And it'll kind of explain it more in the clip. But I want to preface this with Jim saying this is Mike Flynn's very close friend and funder. They hosted a party together on election night for 1,000 people. He wants to make a note that it appears it's DOD, Secret Service, and the IRS agents, not the FBI. So this is not an FBI raid. This is a DOD, Secret Service, and IRS raid, which is a completely different part of the structure of criminal law in this country than the FBI. The FBI not being involved in this kind of makes it significant, as Jim is pointing out. DOD being involved kind of makes it sound like it's more of a national security type threat, but it could just be financial crimes. I don't know, but check out the report here.
The top of 5, police and law enforcement rushed to the home and farm of Alfie Oakes, the owner of Oakes Farms and Seed the Table. Welcome to Wink News at 5. I'm Lois Tony.
I'm Chris Safadi. We have team coverage tonight. At both locations, our crews are at his home in North Naples and at Oakes Farms in Immokalee. We start with Wink News reporter Olivia Jean live at Oakes Farm. Olivia, what's the latest there?
Well, here's what I have confirmed. The IRS, the Secret Service, and the Defense Criminal Investigative Service, which is part of the Department of Defense, were all on scene. Most of them have left, but they were here for at least 5 hours. And I want you to take a look at this exclusive new dash cam video you're seeing first at 5. You'll see a total of 18 unmarked government agency vehicles rolling into the Oakes Farm warehouse one by one. Witnesses tell me they all came in a matter of seconds. I want to play you some video from the scene earlier today. I've also seen at least 20 officers from different agencies here going in and out of the building, some wearing gloves, others carrying papers. We don't know exactly what they are looking for, but I can tell you it was a massive scene. We know that the Collier County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and Customs are not involved. Alfie Oaks, the owner of Oaks Farms, was on scene when we got here around noon. I asked him if he had anything to say. Listen.
So this is Alfie Oaks on the scene. You can see he's driving the truck here, and the reporter is asking him questions. And there's also this character here. See, this guy does not want to be identified because he knows there's a camera. Of course, you can see the Alfie Oaks actually drives a goddamn Ford Explorer that has Trump's name on the side of it. Now, Alfie Oaks is the owner of Seed to Table. And if you don't know this, Seed to Table is a very white Christian nationalist organization. They pose as an organization that helps feed the country, but really they're more interested in their white Christian nationalism than they are their philanthropy. But you can see he's got the Trump 2024 on his side. But it's strange that this guy is covering his face. But let's listen to what Alfie says from the driver's seat.
Comment is go Trump. What are they doing here? So you don't have anything to say? Like
Oh, wait. Hey, here's a better look. There's Alfie back here, and he says, "Go Trump." That's his response to the feds coming in with DOD and the IRS. But this little character here, see how he's got stubby little hands, stubby little fingers, bald head, and the ears there. See if we can see more of this guy. Oh, nope, he's gone.
We're pushing for answers as to why this raid happened. The Secret Service would not make a comment to us, but the IRS and the DCIS did say they were here on official business. I'm live at the Oaks Farms in Immokalee. Olivia Jean, Wink News.
All right, thank you, Olivia. And continuing our team coverage, we also know at least 3 federal agencies were at Alfie Oaks' home in North Naples. Wink News reporter Jolena Esperto is live outside his home now. Jolena.
I love the wink, by the way. Like a wink. Wink News. Are you serious? All right, that's pretty good branding. I'm not going to lie.
Lois, I caught Alfie Oaks walking to his car, which is parked right next to me a little further out in the roundabout here from his home. And I asked him what he had to say. I asked him to say it into the camera. So take a look at that footage. You couldn't really hear it, but he said to me, "Go Trump, fight, fight, fight." And then I wanted to show you earlier today, we got some drone overhead before we got into the neighborhood here at Villages in Monterey. And you can see several.
Okay. So what does this all mean? I don't know. I don't know what this is about. It could be something totally unrelated, and he's just doing the Go Trump thing just to get it going, right? And I don't know. It seems like he's facing possible seizure of his farm due to alleged failure to repay loans totaling $4 million in the farm credit. I don't know because he poses as a farmer with this Seed to Table. But I do want to make it clear, as Jim did here in his thread here. I want to show you Jim's thread here that this appears to be Ivan Ranklin. And Jim's pointing out this is Ivan Ranklin with Alfie Oaks when he got raided, near 100% certainty. So that's Ivan there, maybe. And we know Ivan Ranklin from all his threats and all his bullshit about, the deep state and get rid of the deep state and, making sure the deep state and blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Deep, derp state. It's all Antifa. So I want you to know that this story is developing and we're watching it, but it seems like it's more of a fraud case, which is pretty in line with Trumpers. So make sure to come back here tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll stay on top of it. See, actually on Monday. Today's Friday. Holy shit. Monday, same time, same place. Surf's up, motherfuckers.
You've been listening to the Tony Michaels Podcast. In your face commentary of current events and political news. No rules, no boundaries. I think we've made that perfectly clear. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. In the meantime, follow Tony on social media at The Tony Michaels. And until next time, raise a fist and repeat after me. Fuck 'em.
You're not allowed to do that.
Murphy's Mule Barn.
Can we please just dispense with this idea that Donald Trump's a changed person? Donald Trump's going to become a unifying voice now. He wants to do this for his legacy now. Donald Trump is Donald Trump. He's going to behave the way he always has. We need to be alert right now so we can protect our fellow Americans. I don't need to hear about the oh, he's going to be great. He's going to do it better. No, let me just show you what he's posted this morning as an example, okay? Now, when I read this to you, I want you to think to yourself, imagine for a moment if President Biden made any post like this during his presidency, what would happen? And I want to share with you how the media already is reporting on Trump's posts as though this is normal, as though he's calling for investigations, not the person who's now a president-elect early in the morning, like a mad king, is sending all caps messages, authoritarian style, demanding investigations where he's embroiled in massive conflicts of interest relating to a company that he owns. Let's just take a look at his post. He writes the following. There are fake, untrue, and probably illegal rumors and or statements made by perhaps market manipulators or short sellers that I am interested in selling shares of Truth Social. Those rumors or statements are false. I have no intention of selling. I hereby request that the people who have set off these fake rumors or statements and who may have done so in the past be immediately investigated by the appropriate authorities. Truth is an important part of our historic win, and I deeply believe in it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then in all caps, he goes, make America great again. Setting aside for a moment, which I'm not sure how you can set aside, the massive conflicts of interest of a private company potentially being used by people who want to influence the presidency and do end run around campaign finance issues, which I think is a major issue. You have a president-elect in all caps calling for investigation by authorities who he has carte blanche authority over and controls to direct their behavior, to investigate people who he believes pose some pecuniary financial threat to his own economic interests. But here's how Josh Gerstein at Politico reports on it. Just in, President-elect Trump already calling for investigations, wants probes of people starting rumors that he plans to sell his stake in Truth Social. He wants probes of rumors, typical presidential stuff, probes of rumors with all caps messages that are posted on social media. I mean, setting aside how not dignified, how unbecoming the behavior is. I mean, I point out what Josh Gerstein writes, because probes of rumors. Could you imagine for just 1 second if President Biden once made some post? Hey, I want to have an investigation into so-and-so company that I have an investment into, in all caps. You know how much support he would lose from the Democratic Party? Well, we saw what happens if he stutters in a debate. What happens with the Democratic Party? Well, I mean, that can't. Let me make this commitment to you here. Okay. The same way the ACLU made the following post, they took out an all-page ad saying they're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere, okay? I'm going to call out this stuff. Michael Popak, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, my brothers, our team here is going to continue to call out this stuff right here. And then to all of the people who are saying, well, with mass deportations, Donald Trump's not coming for me. Let's be very clear. In that first post I show you, do you think Donald Trump changed his tone or tenor in any way? Is this a new Donald Trump right now? No, it's the same person. I'm just looking forward to seeing the QAnon posts coming soon. And then before that, and then next, he'll start calling Adam Schiff pencil-neck, and he'll start calling Nancy Pelosi expletives. That's where we're probably a few days, if not less than 24 hours away from that. But just take a look at Stephen Miller's post. Yes, we started a new denaturalization project under Trump. In 2025, we expect it to be turbocharged. Denaturalization. That means even if you're here lawfully, if they consider you a anchor baby, the same way Donald Trump's kid, I'll leave it at that. If they consider you that, denaturalization means stripping you of your citizenship, even if you're here lawfully. And then, of course, they're going to deport your family members. And don't say, oh, he was just saying bloody deportations as a campaign slogan. No, they meant that. Same thing when they talked about tariffs. And by the way, as I've reported on now, companies are pricing in to the costs of Donald Trump's tariffs, of the Trump tariffs, into products right now. That means, and you may be hearing it as well, and share in the comments below your stories, that means that people's Christmas bonuses maybe not be arriving. Maybe people are being laid off because manufacturers are saying, if we have to import stuff and we're going to get taxed on it, we better start saving our money right now and make sure that we get all the supplies we need now instead of waiting for 2025. Got to show you this as well, because Ted Cruz's daughter recognizes Trump is still Trump. And you may have seen this viral moment when Ted Cruz won in Texas. Ted Cruz's daughter, when they're announcing that Donald Trump, where Ted Cruz saying, I hope Donald Trump's going to win it too. This is before it was announced for Trump. Ted Cruz's daughter says, don't clap for that. You see her. Just watch this, play this clip.
And I believe and I hope and pray that Donald Trump will be reelected as president of the United States.
And then meanwhile, in Russia, while Vladimir Putin congratulated Donald Trump, Russian media is kind of mocking us now and mocking Donald Trump in their own way, because they know that Donald Trump now is working with Putin right now, and they know that Putin won in this election and that Putin got what he wanted. And here's what it says. So they started showing on Russian TV all of like Melania's nudes. I'm not going to play the video, but they started literally showing all of her nudes and like laughing in our faces, because they know what they were able to accomplish and how American citizens just voted against their interests. They're gloating over there and mocking at the same time. By the way, I've been seeing a lot of videos like this as well of people who voted for Donald Trump, who are now going viral because people are saying that they don't support, they don't want them in their groups anymore. Here, like this video right here.
MAGA family, I was on TikTok Live, and a fellow Trump supporter said that all he needed was my vote. I'll never be part of the MAGA family, and that I'm black, I'll never be accepted, but he just got my vote. Nah, that's crazy. Like, I love MAGA Nation, I love the MAGA family, and that breaks my heart that someone would speak to me like that right after the election, that all I was a vote? Nah, I love all you guys, and I know most of you MAGA family members are not racist, and I love you guys, and I'll keep repping MAGA Nation, Trump 2024, but that really broke my heart that some guy would say that. Extremely heartbroken.
And some of the other consequences we're seeing also, a lot of, we're hearing this a lot, that a lot of these Gen Z boys are increasingly and gleefully commenting in women's social media feeds, your body, my choice. As horrific as that is, feeling emboldened by Donald Trump's rhetoric right there. Mike Davis, who's on the short list to become Donald Trump's attorney general, has been making posts like this about Mark Cuban. He said he can clean the toilets in the gulag. He's also posted regarding New York Attorney General Letitia James that she should go to the gulag. He's posted that he's using right now a badge called Viceroy Mike Davis, and he's again on the short list of being the AG to execute Donald Trump's plans right here. And that's what he's out there saying as well. And look, the reason that we're providing you all this data again is just be alert. We as part of being a resistance to this, we're going to have to call out what's happening in real time. So I don't want to go into this and be like, oh, just because he hasn't posted in a while, maybe this time it's going to be different. No, let's be alert. Let's protect our community. Let's do our best to protect our democracy. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and let's get to 4 million subscribers.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.
All right, here we go, folks. We already have multiple complaints from Trump voters about the negative downstream effects of Donald Trump's proposed tariff policies. Number one, they don't even know what tariffs are. Number two, they are just now realizing that tariffs are paid by American manufacturers. And number three, they are not happy. So, of course, Trump does not take office for 74 more days. But when we live in a free market, capitalistic society like America, markets are reactive. Markets are reactive to what is coming up in the future. So companies now know they have to prepare for the potential of tariffs. They now know they need this extra revenue to pay the tariffs. They now know they need more in their stock. And we are seeing the effects play out in real time. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe so we can build this pro-democracy community. And let's jump right in. You know, I want to start off with one of my favorite tweets of all time, and this describes what we're going to be seeing a lot of over the next 4 years. This reads, quote, "I never thought the leopards would eat my face," sobs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party. And it's basically illustrating that people will constantly vote against their own interests, undermine their own health and life just to vote based off of vibes. For example, a few months back, there was a woman telling me that she needed healthcare for her autistic son. She needed therapy for her autistic son, but she didn't have access. And I talked to her. I said, "Do you think the government should be able to provide a bare minimum level of healthcare for people in need?" And she says, yes. You know what? I can pull up the video before we break down today's topic. These Trump supporters are voting against their own interests.
Tell me what issues are at the top of your mind heading into this election.
I would say Medicare, Medicaid. Our son's on Social Security. He was diagnosed with autism, and we're having the runaround of trying to get therapies covered and stuff like that. He's not getting anything for the month because we make too much money. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but we have to do one income with my husband or with my son's schedule and everything.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of hard financially, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, the education, the Social Security, all that is.
Okay, so first of all, none of this is meant to undermine this woman's lived experience, this Trump supporter's lived experience, but she just named a few things. She said, "I'm worried about Social Security. I'm worried about Medicare, Medicaid." She even said, "We're trying to get education figured out."
I'm trying to figure out, you know, the education,
So I want to ask the question, do you think liberals are better for Medicare, Medicaid, for education, for healthcare as a whole, and providing therapies to families in need? I would say liberals are better 10 out of 10 times, not to mention Donald Trump's plan to cut entitlements because he wants to cut taxes for the rich, but also he doesn't want a deficit spend, so you necessarily have to cut entitlements.
The Social Security, all that is a loophole, and I wish it was better and not so hard to understand.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Do you think the government should be able to provide at least a bare minimum level of medical care for people?
To an extent, if you have a disability, yes. I don't think anybody should get a free ride by any means. Like I said, we have insurance.
Okay, so even with her conservative spin that nobody deserves a free ride, she still even concedes that people with disabilities, most likely people with pre-existing conditions, should be able to have help from the government. So why does Donald Trump want to slash pre-existing conditions or slash the Affordable Care Act? It makes no sense at all. Let's get on to the main topic of today. I want to show you this, and then I want to show you some Trump supporters realizing, oh shit, Project 2025 actually is real. First of all, this comment reads, results have already started. This is from an American woman today. Quote, my husband works for a small manufacturing company, and here in southwestern PA, that means most employees are Trump voters. When the president of the company sat them down today to tell them their annual Christmas bonus would not come this year because they need to now purchase at least a year's worth of products prior to January due to the proposed tariffs, they didn't understand. My husband said that their president had to explain what a tariff is and how it will directly hurt their company. They all thought the foreign company paid the tariff. This is the level of ignorance, voting against their own interests here in Pennsylvania, where we failed American women and children last night. And that is what Donald Trump was banking on. He could straight up lie about what tariffs are, straight up lie about who has to pay the costs on tariffs, and in the process, screw over Americans who thought they were voting for a better life. We even have futures already going up. And keep in mind, when a president signals a potential tariff, companies have to begin stocking up money, stocking up resources to pay those tariffs off. For example, Farm Futures reads, Trump's return set to upend trade for American farmers. The world expects a fresh round of trade disruptions, and American farmers are willing to go along for the ride, I guess. Donald Trump's re-election promises have another shakeup for American agriculture. Expectations for a fresh round of trade disruptions with China sent soybeans, corn, and wheat futures made them plunge on early Wednesday. All of these futures are absolutely plunging. Also, Trump, who rewrote trade with Mexico and Canada, threw $28 billion at farmers to try to soften the blow during his administration, and it didn't work out too well. Trump has proposed a 10 to 20% tariff across the board on all imported goods into the U.S. and a 60% tariff on Chinese products, which is an absolutely disastrous idea. But honestly, do you guys feel bad? I genuinely want to know, like, if Trump supporters get screwed over by their own vote, do you guys feel bad? Because I'm starting to not feel bad whatsoever. The intuitive empathy in me tells me that, yes, this is probably a good woman right here, but if she gets her Social Security slashed or her son's, do I care? I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell. But the other day, we learned that Matt Walsh and other right-wingers were tweeting, hey guys, Project 2025 is the agenda. For example, Matt Walsh said, quote, now that the election is over, we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda. Lol. Benny Johnson also said, it is my honor to inform you that all of Project 2025 was real. Beau French, a local Texas GOP official who has power in Texas, said, can we all admit that we are going to implement Project 2025 now, please? So it's very, very interesting because now Trump supporters are responding with things like this. Peggy Nicholson said, I didn't think it was a joke. When my child is gay and he's been going through loops and hurdles, he doesn't believe in the trans. He's not a part of the LGBTQ+. He just wants to be left alone. I'm sorry, Peggy Nelson. She then said, better leave my son out of this. He's gay, but don't believe in the trans thing or changing any male parts. He voted for Trump, and I'm hoping this Project 2025 doesn't mess with my son. He doesn't partake in the LGBTQ+. He just wants to be left alone. He's not LGBTQ, guys. He's just gay. He's just gay. Someone that's named You Will Never Like Me said, I'm black. I just got into politics this year. I learned the Republicans think Trump doesn't want tariff or Project 2025. Sorry. I love Matt Walsh, and I really hope he's joking. This shit is kind of scary for people like me, bro. I'm sorry, man. You voted Trump. You reaped the rewards. It's another example of, I never thought the leopards would eat my face, says the person who voted for the leopards eating people's face party. Yeah, I'm sorry to you guys if you don't like that I'm starting to lose empathy for Trump supporters, but I think most of you will agree that some of this empathy is not warranted anymore. So, after Matt Walsh said that Project 2025 is real, Serenity said there will be folks keeping him in check. I'd have to see it to believe it. This is a Trump supporter saying, I'd have to see it to believe it. Elevate said, not funny. As a Trump supporter, Project 2025 needs to be burned and its writers slapped for being so stupid. This doesn't sound like a MAGA cultist who wants a Christian theocracy, but this guy didn't know what he was getting into. Hermit Hobbyist said in response, it's conservative wokeness, woke shit. That's what you're supporting. And honestly, that's a good equivalent right there. I don't believe that wokeness is a problem or that wokeness is ruining America, but if you want to say that wokeness equals the far left, then yeah, sure, Project 2025 is the far right's version of trying to turn our country into wokeness, to use their terms. Shannon said, it's sarcasm, you idiots. Sarcasm. Nobody is banning anything but illegal aliens. Oh, that's comforting. Mike Gager said, my wife literally believes Project 2025. Stop. Valkamaya said, again, Walsh, America First, MAGA, is not your Christian Renaissance. You can't co-opt the movement. This is a coalition of Americans for America that is not tied to your wants. Killer Wasp said, there's also a lot of really shitty stuff in Project 2025. I wouldn't accept it in whole. Boiler said, like what? If Trump fully backs that, doesn't this make him a liar already to us voters? He acted like he wants nothing to do with it. That's a good point. Matt Walsh immediately comes out and says, like, we're liars, guys. We lied to you to get elected. Joey said, not true. We hate it, and so does Vance and Trump. The only thing is, Project 2025 is largely based off Trump's first term, when he tried to enact those Schedule F executive orders, which says that he could fire or hire people based on their loyalty to him, not their merit or their skill. That is what Project 2025 is laying the groundwork for. So we need to be ready. I want to read this one last post by friend of the show, Micah Irfan, who I'll bring on the show soon to talk about this, but it's about where we go from here. He said, my takeaway from the results. It looks like America shifted right a lot. Some of this has to do with frustrations over inflation, sure, but I think there's more here. Democrats have been running campaigns the old-fashioned way, and I think we need to acknowledge that it's not cutting it. We raise money like crazy, we mop the floor with Republicans in voter contact efforts, get out the vote operations and advertising. We also get way more major endorsements. But does the Oprah endorsement matter? I guess not. At the end of the day, it barely makes a difference. Most voters get their news through social media and on social media platforms. We are getting washed. Since 2015, Republicans have been building up their infrastructure to control the airwaves, and right now they do. Elon Musk buying X was a huge leap for them. Their content gets more impressions on nearly every platform, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter. Right-wingers are dominating. The only way to fix this problem is huge investments in our digital apparatus. We need more creators and lots of them. It's really interesting, guys. A few weeks ago, I thought I was just a small part of a huge operation within the country. And of course, I still am, but it's now looking like in a few years, this digital media sphere that we've built could be a very, very important piece for the Democratic Party. And this election proved that. Think about that for a bit. Chew on that. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.